morning, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal on an overcast Thursday morning. Yay, Thursday. And for those of you who don't know, I don't work on Fridays, so Thursday is my Friday. It's 16 degrees again, which makes it 60 in American. It's 16 degrees in southern British Columbia. So there is still some blue sky, but it's definitely clouding over, and what I'm aware of is that there is a wind bringing in this cloud. Now that means that it's coming in off the water, and if it's coming in off the water, you know what it's bringing with it. So I did wear a cardigan today, just in case it's raining when I leave. Yesterday was really quite amusing. I mean, there are times when I really have to laugh at myself, and yesterday was one of them, because I managed to do a full vlog all the way to work yesterday, and then when I got there, I had to laugh because I realized my camera had stopped, and that made me realize how little I look at my camera when I'm driving. I know some people are concerned about that, and really, I do a 20-minute drive, and yesterday I had, I think, 8 minutes of it on camera. And I carried on talking for the other 12. So you know that I just didn't take any notice of my camera. So it really was quite funny. When I thought about it afterwards, I was going to add a bit to it, and I thought, no, you know something? I'm going to take it as a God moment, that there's enough there for the person who needs to hear whatever it is I had to say. And that's the only thing that I work on every day, is did I say something that's going to help one person? And hopefully that I do. So I was very, very amused by it all yesterday. We are literally, this time next week, I will be at VidCon, not traveling. I will actually be at the event itself, which is just so huge. I'm trying not to get overly stressed about it in any way, although there's part of me that wants to get really stressed. And it's not something I'm used to. You know, it's really weird because I spent so much of my life being a performer and going to things like this, and I wasn't stressed, and yet I'm noticing that now that I'm older, things that normally didn't stress me in any way, or not that I was aware of anyway, now are starting to cause that insecurity, I think I'd have to call it, because that's what stress is, right? I'm not sure if I'll be able to handle this sort of thing. Well, you know, it's minor, it's not major. I talk about it because I always like to be upfront on my feelings, because that's my goal here, is to make sure that everybody knows that we all have these feelings to some degree. Now, does that mean that everybody going to VidCon is feeling some level of stress? Probably not. No. I can imagine some people are absolutely in awe of going, because of the people they might actually see or meet or even talk to. And then I laugh and I go, yep, 20,000 people. What chance have they got, right? But maybe a good chance. And I will let you know a lot more about that when I get back. I'm now beginning to think that I may want to take extra battery capability with me, which I already have, but also extra memory capability. I'm thinking that I'm going to pick up an extra memory card for my camera, so that I can put more on there during the day if necessary. I was working it out last night that I normally can fit on about 7.5 hours of data onto my phone. Not onto my phone, onto my camera. And the reason I know that is because I do normally half an hour a day. that wouldn't be true. I do half an hour a day. Yeah, that's right. And I normally only empty my camera about once a month. So that's pretty good. That's a lot of memory on there. And do I think I'm going to be doing more than that in one day? I doubt it. But then you never know, right? So today I want to really get a grip on where that excitement level changes to something else. I guess for a lot of it, and those of you who know what I'm talking about, is the unknown. And the unknown in terms of, I still don't know exactly where I'm staying. I've got to find that out because I'm going to need that for going through customs. And things like that. So there's still some have-tos before I leave, including packing, of course. And I still have to spend some time doing some research on some of these people that I'm meeting. And getting signatures from, hopefully. Very exciting stuff. Now, one of the things that I heard about yesterday was that it was a very sad day for one of our viewers. And I wanted to talk about sad anniversaries. For some of you, you haven't hopefully reached that part of your life where you have sad anniversaries, but for the majority of us who are slightly older, yes, we have had maybe parents that have passed, or sadly children who have passed, or for some of you it's pets who have passed that were like children. And grieving is a really weird thing. And I'm going to say weird because it's so different for each individual. And one of the things that I think you learn as you grow older is that the sadness in its own way is quite selfish. And I say that with all the love in the world. It's quite selfish because the other person, we like to believe, is in a much better place. And we grieve not having them in our lives. They're not there to make us happy anymore, or to listen to us anymore, or to contribute to our lives in whatever way. So it's really all about us, if you think about it. When I grieved the prospect of losing Bean Bean, I didn't fear for him being in a better place. I feared for what was my life going to be like without him. And I found out it's very lonely without him. And so you look at it and you go, I have lost so many different people in my life. Parents, friends. And one thing you can't do is short-circuit the process of grieving. I've got another viewer who wrote to me recently about the loss of a relationship. And I was trying to explain to her that the loss of a relationship goes through basically the same cycle as the loss of somebody in death. You know, you're still going to go through that initial, I don't believe this is happening. And then you're going to go through, but by the way, that's called denial. And then you're going to go through anger. Some of you will know the bargaining phase, which is, you know, if you don't make this true, I promise I won't make these mistakes again, or whatever it is that we bargain with. I'm certain a lot of you know that one. But basically, you have to go through this, and then you get to sadness. And the sadness is devastating because it comes in waves. And you're never quite sure when those waves are going to hit you, because there isn't any rhyme or reason to them. And then over time, you know, you get to acceptance, and there are lots of stages in between. But the strange thing about grief is it doesn't go in the right pattern. You know, it's not decent enough to go, okay, well, if I'm past this stage, then I can go into sadness now, and then I'm not going to go back into anger or back into denial. It's not true. My total confusion about grief is that you get these waves, and they're waves of all those things that come at you at different times. And the first year is the worst year. And the reason that the first year is the worst year, because it's all the firsts. It's the first, you know, birthday without them. It's the first Christmas without them, or whatever, you know, religious celebration you follow. You have to go revisit the places where you visited. Now, strangely enough, some of you will relate to this incredible grief in, as I said, in losing a relationship. You have to go to the place where you first met, or the place where, you know, you went on your first date, or all those firsts. You still have to go through all those. And I don't know about the rest of you, but the terror of actually going somewhere and seeing that person again. I can remember when I first got divorced from my husband, and I was terrified of going to any event where he might be. Terrified. Why? Because I was pretty sure that he'd have on his arm some gorgeous bimbo. It's like a bimbo, but a younger one. And then, yeah, I'd be looking frumpy by comparison. You know what I mean? Total ego issue. But really what it was my heart would break, and I knew it. All this grieving is a terribly difficult place to be in, and my heart totally bleeds for anybody who's going through it. However, the questions that I get asked about this more than anything is, how do I cope? And the way you cope is to realize that this really is about you, not about the person who's passed. This is how you feel lost without them. This is how you feel angry about what's happened. It's about your feelings, not about somebody else. And so the one thing that I always tell people who are going through a grief situation is look after you. You know, don't sit all day crying about what you've lost. Make it a day that is a happy day if you possibly can, because that's what the person that has passed would want for you. I'm pretty darn sure. If it's a loss of relationship, one of the first things I tell people to do is to find it in their heart, if they truly loved this person, to find it in their heart to wish them well. Wish them love. If you truly loved them, you would wish them a happy life. True? Not hate them. You would realize that you wanted a happy life for them if you truly loved them. And isn't it funny that love turns to hate so quickly when we're not involved anymore? That's not love. And the only way I found to get over a relationship was to wish them love and realize I needed to get on with my life. because they weren't going to be changing their life to suit me. They weren't going to be crying like I was. They weren't going to be putting their life on hold the way I was. They were going to get on with life. And the reason I knew that is because you heard about it or you saw it or whatever. A construction moment. So the best thing you can do to look after yourself in a day of grief or an anniversary of grief is to actually really pamper yourself. Do what you can to make yourself an enjoyable day. You just need to get through those 24 hours. You know, if you need to sit down with Netflix or something and binge on, hopefully, comedies rather than romantic movies. Things that will make you laugh, not things that will make you cry. Because as I said, laughter is what they would wish for you. So, on that note, think about it this way. If you're grieving for any reason, look after yourself. By the way, all the people who tell you you should be over it by now, well, you're not. And that's very easy for people to say. Very easy for people to say, not nearly as easy for people to do. All right, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to enjoy my Thursday. And remember to look after one another. For those of you who are part of the Dear Mama Sal support team, thank you for all that you do for supporting other people. And please remember to look after yourself as well as you look after others. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.